I want to talk about the game.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And see that somebody came in the chat room, said the game was clout chasing hard, but he pretty much talked today about how the late Nipsey Hussle, encouraged him, to put his difference to the side with Meek Mill. A couple of years ago, they had a real heated beef.
Yeah.
That escalated to the game coming to Philly and just putting on a spectacle. He came and acted like he went to Max's cheesesteak in North Philly, and he went to Geno's and all that. It was memorable time for me and hip hop and whatnot. But he came out today and pretty much said, then he got out of jail in the midst of everything he was going through the day. He called me. He said he'd been thinking about me in jail. He said one of the first things he wanted me to do when he got out was put our differences to the side. So that's the game. He said, so we did. I called you. I told you. I could hear you smile through the phone before saying, told you, Chuck, we could do so much more if we're unified in this shit. Your heart, bro. Your heart always pure, always solid, always, my brother. Feel his energy. So that's dope. Again, I thought it was really some sucker shit the way it went down with that. I thought it was a publicity stunt with the game at the time coming at Meek Mill because the stuff he was saying just wasn't true. Nobody could substantiate some of the stuff. And then he was frauding, acting like he came to North Philly and he really didn't. And it was just a lot of people say that about the game that he's real good at when it's time to put out his album. And ironically, he was putting out his album at the time. He does a lot of gimmicky stuff. But one thing I will say is this song was fire. When they had the battle, I think that lyrically, I could say you can edge it out to game. You know what I'm saying? Because Meek said he wasn't really feeling it, like he didn't really want to, whatever. But I thought it was kind of corny. But what do you think about this though, man? Him pretty much saying Nipsey Hussle, encouraged him to unify with Meek and put that petty shit to the side.
Yeah, I'm gonna break this down into two different categories. So in regards to what he said about Nipsey, it almost just confirms everything we've already been hearing about Nipsey and everything that we continue to learn about this brother through his untimely death. I mean, the like you were talking about prior to us coming on, the more and more you start digging into conversations, even as a young boy, you realize that this child, even when he was young, is a genius. And there's something special about him early on, and people started really identifying with it. You heard it in people's words at the funeral, and it just went on and on. So I believe Game when he says that Nipsey went up to him and told him to squash that shit, maybe knowing it was for show. Like, yo, chill that shit out. That's a real dude. That's a good dude. Cool out. Don't go there with that. And then obviously when Meek went through his real situation, whether you think that Game may have ran on a time to get into the limelight again, because it just happens, it falls right into play. But now he thought that was the time to have a change of heart. He hits Nipsey up, and all of a sudden, now, you know what I mean?
So you don't think that's clout chasing for him? You don't think that the game is clout chasing at this point? Because I remember at first you came out, especially with the Kodak Black situation in Lauren London, you came out blatantly and said, look, this dude's clout chasing with this. He's trying to, do whatever, get his name out there. So what do you think about this situation now?
It's clout chasing all day. I agree that I believe Nipsey Hussle said that to him, but that doesn't mean or take away the fact that I believe he's still out here running and grabbing attention for sure.
Yeah.
Now his dedication to Nipsey, I appreciate all that because obviously he's on the hearts of everybody still, and all that's fine and well. Does it even strike you that he didn't talk at the funeral?
It kind of did.
Why not?
I mean, because it seemed, I don't know what reason he didn't speak at the funeral, but you seen guys like YG, Snoop, and stuff up there. I thought that he probably would, but for whatever reason he didn't. It definitely was a little odd that he didn't, but stuff happens.
Did the family not want him to? Snoop was up there. It wasn't like they didn't want rappers. YG went up there.
I can't.
Mustard was up there.
I can't answer. Maybe it was just limited slots and he wasn't, in their plans to go up there.
Well, you would think the way he's talking about him and the way it's hitting him hard that he would have been somebody up there to just.
Well, I don't want to, like hinge his whole relationship on the fact that he didn't speak, because I hear that they go back about 10 years and obviously they was cool from the same city and whatnot, even though it's different sides, the color spectrum. But I don't want to, bring it down to just that. It was probably a lot of people that wanted to speak who didn't, but I was kind of surprised that the game wasn't up there, but that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of struck me as being odd, especially just the way he was grieving online. It just really was surprising to me, but you could look past that. That's cool. Is he really out here clout chasing right now every day looking for some attention? Hell yeah.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. And I took a lot of flack for that. I said it about T.I., even though I feel like he's genuine. I said it and I mean it. I'm going to say the same thing about Game. It is what it is.
They was getting at you about the T.I. joint, and they was because of Kodak Black, they was like, he was defending Kodak. And then right after that, he got arrested. But that is what it is.
I'm not about them defending Kodak. How was I defending Kodak? Didn't I say a million times over and over and over again, he needed to be checked for that? Didn't I say that? So how was I defending him? Yeah, my approach would have been way different. So I disagree with the approach 100%.
No doubt.
And that's just my thing. What y'all thinking in the chat room? You looking in there? What's going on in there right now? Shout out to everyone in there right now.
Yeah, we got my brother Darren Marion already, you know what I'm saying, in the building, man. We're going to rap, you know what I mean, tonight, you know, about a few different topics. But yeah, that's, you know, that kind of is what it is, you know, as far as with that. Rest in peace to Nipsey. Still ongoing, you know, story there, even though a lot of people believe that it's just cut and dry. Me and brother Darren talked in the background about it. We haven't all talked together about the Nipsey situation, you know. So I guess I'll start off with that before we get deep. What do you brothers think about that? You know, Darren and brother Consul, what do you think went down with the Nipsey hustle situation? You think conspiracy is too far fetched, or do you think that it was just some, you know, some stuff that happens in the hood all the time?
Yeah, I think that, man, it's conspiracy. It's a far fetched, man. It's you know, conspiracy. People who use conspiracy theories, man, or look at conspiracy theories, are people who are looking for hope in something. And generally, as Black people, we're looking for hope in something. So we're usually the ones that's gonna fall forward or fall into conspiracy theories. I mean, we still think Pac's alive. We still think Biggie's alive. You know, I mean, come on, man. You know, I think it's the fact that, you know, this guy was in a gang. He never denounced the gang. And gang violence happens. And he was a victim of gang violence, you know, in the hood. So,
Brother Kansu, peace to you.
Yo, what's up, man? What's happening to everybody out there, man? Yeah, that's a good question, man. In my opinion, I do differ from my brother Darren. I do believe it was a conspiracy. However, not an extreme conspiracy, not a governmental conspiracy. A neighborhood conspiracy. I mean, anybody that's been affiliated with gangs, I come from that environment and that lifestyle, and it's definitely an organized, secret organization that operates similar to what the mob does, and any other organization that perpetuates psychological control. And this is also a religion. A lot of people take gang life very religiously and believe in it, just like if you was going to a Christian church every Sunday. So a lot of people, they do a lot of things on behalf of that culture and don't feel like they're doing anything wrong. They feel like it's just. They feel like it's necessary. So on the flip side of that, though, Nipsey, being very brilliant and cognizant of what he was doing in his environment, he knew what time it was. I mean, he tweeted what he tweeted. Powerful enemies is a blessing. You don't say that off the cuff. So he already knew what time it was. And, you know, me living in Chicago, even though I've established businesses and I moved on, when I walk out the street, man, I keep my head on the swivel, yo. Because sometimes you can apologize. That don't mean you get away with them. If you do somebody dirty, man, they're going to come with the shovel and the dirt. So sometimes it's your time. If you out there in the gang culture, guns, death, murder, drugs, all that come with that culture. And sometimes you become caught up in it. You try to get out of it the best that you can, but we got to realize that these hoods, quote unquote, that we get labeled with are things that we didn't ask for. We didn't ask to be in a gang. We had no options because our basic needs were taken from us and we're a byproduct of poverty. And one thing that motivated Nipsey, and you notice what happens to a lot of our great leaders, man, is poverty. Nipsey was impoverished. He lived in a neighborhood where there's little to no independent wealth. So him and his brother, they was motivated to be successful, wealthy people and businessmen. That's what motivated them to go through all the stuff they went through. Regardless of how the packaging looked, it still tastes the same, man. So, yeah, you know, that's my 5 cents on that one.
I would, you know, have to disagree a little bit. I would have to say that, you know, looking at what I looked at, I've seen that he had a lot of issues, you know, with the city, with the LAPD, you know, and I would say that the enemies he was talking about wasn't even no street stuff. I thought that, he knew what time it was as far as like the opposition that he was receiving from. I hate to use this word, but the so-called powers that be, he understood. I think he was probably, it was reports that his life was in jeopardy even before you know, a few days before at his video shoot, they needed extra security and whatnot. And I think he was doing a lot of things that not a lot of people in his position were, you know, are doing, rappers. You know what I mean? Vector 90, I think it is, and different things that he was doing in the community. But and then you look back at the COINTELPRO, you look at that, you look at what they said, how they didn't want black unity, and you're talking about him bringing the gangs together. It could have been to me, I was even thinking maybe possibly the gangs maybe got nervous because they thought it was maybe treasonous that he was going to talk to the police and whatnot, and maybe anything like that. But I'm like, nah, I think it's a little bit bigger than somebody just, you know, being mad because somebody called him a snitch, or, you know, he didn't want his mixtape or something like that. I think it was just a little bit more. That's just me. You know, I don't want to take that off the table yet until we find out more, you know, from the situation. How do you feel? You know, what's your gut feeling on this whole thing now?
My gut feeling is it is really simple. When you look at a person who is taking money out of one pocket and putting it in another pocket, and those pockets happen to be people that are impoverished and put in situations where it's damn near impossible, if not impossible, to get out of. And this was systematically set up, and this has been proven throughout time. And you have a man who is in place, who has been from that gutter, who got out of that situation, who wasn't supposed to, and now he's motivating other people to do so, i.e. the jobs for the felons who come out of jail. They got the situations for them to kind of gain revenue in other aspects where they weren't. He has programs for entrepreneurs to go and gain other entrepreneurial skills and move forward in that. He owns the shopping store. Who knows what else he had planned going on? I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot what he had planned on buying.
Well, they were saying that he was, you know, from the projections that we seen, that he invested close to 200,000. He was on point to create 40,000 jobs. I don't know how true that is, but there's been a lot of diaphragms where he pretty much had his whole redistribution of wealth plan set up, you know what I mean, out there. So he was trying to do some big things. I'm not, you know, trying to put him on a level of a Martin or even a Malcolm like that, you know, because I know a lot of people got offended like that. But maybe modern day, I think he was about to do some real big things. So, I mean, you know.
You know what I think, though? My bad to cut you off, Olga. I think a lot of people are afraid of change. And when we say we the next, and they just get so caught up and so aggravated. But you can't be afraid of change. Yes, there's going to be people out here in your generations that are going to be revolutionists, that are going to lay their lives on the line for their cause, and we got to remember them as such. So even though it's hard for a lot of people to go ahead and say, whoa, how dare you name this dude to a Malcolm? How dare you do this to a Martin? But with all due respect to a millennial and the millennials out who did not know anything about Martin or Malcolm unless they were told or taught through their parents, what did they do, them two men, that was equal to what Nipsey did as far as creating jobs for their community, creating business, creating that. So it is an equal balance in conversation when you talk to the people in this generation and next. And we shouldn't be so naive or so ignorant to the fact that times fucking are changing, and we got to evolve with the times. Now we have to bring some of the old with the new, as always, because I think a lot of the old, just the values and just what we kind of came up on, and getting lost in today's age. I was thinking to myself, damn, can you be an old soul and still have an iPhone in today's age? Because it's just like this thing just distracts you and gets you so caught off of what really is important and what your balance is supposed to be.
Right.
It's insane. And can you remain or keep some kind of just real humility and just your feet to the ground in this kind of day and age? And I think when they start teaching things, and when Nipsey starts teaching things like that, I mean, it's ahead of its time.
Absolutely. And I do have the diaphragm. I was trying to actually, I sent it to you, Darren, if you want to look at that later, you brothers. It's a you know, pretty much show
impressive, man.
Huh?
That's impressive.
You see it, right?
I haven't seen it yet. I've been trying to get a hold of it.
Man, that's impressive, man.
Right.
Let me find this online, man, and put this out there, man.
Yeah. When I seen it, I'm like, wow, like the dude was, and then I was watching some old videos on. I'm like, this dude was really, you know, a real intellectual. We kind of was really sleeping on who this dude really was when you really look at him. You know what I'm saying? For real. Yeah. But I get it though, man.